Joining us now to talk about one of Franklin Templeton's fastest growing ETFs is Caroline Edwards, Senior Client Portfolio Manager at Putnam Investments. Well, I want to start by highlighting, Caroline, that PVAL recently crossed the $3 billion mark. For those less familiar, could you walk us through the strategy and what it aims to deliver?
Sure, and thanks so much for having me on today, Jenna. So with PVAL, it's a close sibling actually to a strategy that Putnam has had in the market since the early 1990s. The strategy is really designed with what we believe is investors are best suited with for large cap value allocations, which is consistent, modest outperformance year after year. So that's really the way the strategy is designed and the process is designed. And we're really aiming for an all-weather outperformance across different market environments.
Now, rather than taking a macro view, let's talk about the types of companies you're finding attractive today. Within the value universe, are there particular sectors or industries you're leaning into right now, and why?
Sure, there's some really dynamic things happening in value these days, not limited to some changes coming from the Trump administration. So big sector allocations just in the value landscape in general lately in recent allocations, financials, healthcare, and consumer staples would be three of the largest sectors. And if I take financials and healthcare, there's a lot happening these days. In the financial space, for example, investors are really excited about some potential changes coming from the Trump administration, where we could see an easing of the regulatory burden that has been an overhang on banks for decades, basically since the great financial crisis. This could be an interesting opportunity if some of that regulatory burden were to ease and allow the banks to start returning capital to shareholders and just earning higher profits. So that's something that's exciting. And investors are certainly paying close attention to developments there. And then on the other side, which is maybe less positive, but maybe no less of an opportunity, is in healthcare. So as is typical coming through a new administration, you see a lot of attention on healthcare expenditures, and pricing of something like the managed care space. This is always sort of right in the scope of the new administration, and this administration is no different. So we've seen the healthcare sector go through a lot of challenges. That's been things related to tariffs, things related to managed care pricing, and just sort of philosophical beliefs from the new administration. And that's pressuring things across the healthcare sector. So certainly challenged in the near term, but as we get more certainty around that, there could definitely be some opportunities and maybe some stocks that are mispriced coming out of just some once we have rumors that have turned into facts.
Now, how has PVAL performed across different market environments, Caroline?
Yeah, Jenna, the strategy is really built to be driven by stock-specific risk and our individual ideas where we have differentiated views. And we aim to minimize non-stock specific factors and the impact of those. So that would be things like not letting the growth exposure in a value portfolio grow, not allowing momentum as a risk factor to grow. Things like that are more binary in nature and not driven by what we think we do best with, which are the fundamentals. So if we're able to do that right, then we have this ability to outperform across market environments. And since PVAL's inception, we've been able to outperform across market rallies, across downturns, through periods like we experienced recently in the second quarter of this year with the beginning of the Trump tariff conversations. We've been able to outperform through all of those different environments, keeping that stock-specific focus in mind.
Perform and grow, I might add. PVAL is now one of the largest active large cap value ETFs out there in the market. What do you think has contributed to that growth?
So I think it's twofold. So first of all, it's consistency in what we're delivering, meaning the package as a large cap value portfolio, consistency in style, knowing what to expect, knowing what you're getting, That's been really important for investors as they think about, what they're going to be using in the U.S. large cap value their U.S. large cap value exposure, which can be significant across portfolios. So that consistency of style has been very well received. And then lastly, performance certainly sells. And so the consistent outperformance across those different market environments has definitely been a leading part of the conversations here.
Well, Caroline, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me, Jenna.
Of course, and thank you to everyone out there watching. Once again, that was Caroline Edwards, Senior Client Portfolio Manager at Putnam Investments, which is a Franklin Templeton company. And I'm your host, Jenna Dagenhart with Asset TV.